Like Myth Wukong just got the biggest free update yet, with brand new weapons, a new mode, a new boss battle, and way more. I will go over everything, starting with a free armor set that you can immediately claim from a shrine upon booting up the game after installing the patch. I really dig the helmet, it's huge and like nothing we've seen before in the game, and the rest of the armor looks great too. Yes, it's a Chinese New Year set, and yeah, it has some perks that fit that as well. So the head has a unique perk where after a successful hit with a 3 or 4 focus point attack, you moderately increase movement speed and reduce the stamina cost of all actions. And this also works if you charge up your heavy attack, but there's no buff icon showcasing that the perk is active. Feels like something they will add later, but yeah, you still notice that you run a bit faster and that your actions cost less stamina. Now, stamina from jumping is already reduced by wearing 2 pieces of the set, which you will notice quite well too. So nice for jump attacks, I guess. But yeah, as you can already see, the armor perks are not that great. The most interesting addition is a perk you unlock when upgrading the armor to epic, which you can of course do at the blacksmith or at a shrine if you are in New Game Plus. As then you get the full set bonus that will have firecrackers appear when using the Ring of Fire spell. So this doesn't only look really cool, but can also deal damage to enemies that are close by. Only the damage is sadly not that great, and it has some trouble hitting multiple enemies too, even if they stand really close to it. So yeah, also something that just doesn't seem to work properly or is otherwise just really bad. And the release of this armor set just once again shows you that we really need transmog, because I would love to rock the look of this set, but then with perks from other gear. They also added a map to the game, so it was not a design decision to not have a map after all. You get the map for chapter 1 for free, but then you have to buy the others at a shrine in that particular chapter. And from my experience, that can be the first shrine that you come across in that region, and they are pretty cheap. And then by exploring the region, you unlock more parts of the map, or if you have done everything in the map already, you immediately unlock the full map after buying the map at the shrine. And the best part about this is not even finally seeing what these levels look like, but also that you can see shrines on the map and then immediately travel to them from any point in the level. So you don't have to return to shrines first in order to travel. You can also bring up a list of shrines, already see the secret area of the chapter, certain NPC locations are also visible on the map, and you can put down your own marker for things that you find in the world. So a great new addition for sure. Wish this was in the game at launch, but it will be helpful for when the inevitable DLC launches in 2025. Another nice new addition is that if you go to the talent menu and then to the transformation tab, you can see if a skill impacts your character or if the upgrade also impacts your transformation, which is great info to have. And while first it was kind of a pain to consume multiple medicine after each other, as it would not directly work, so you had to wait a bit before you could drink the second one. Now after the update it works really well, so you can very easily stack these buffs on top of each other, which is great. We got many fixes for bosses. Sometimes you could not enter the arena because you got blocked by an invisible wall. This should now be resolved. Erlang could also throw you behind an invisible wall, so they could not fight him anymore, which was quite annoying. And some people found a way to fight the frog in chapter 6 in a different arena, which basically made the boss unable to do anything back, so they also fixed this. The Kang Jin boss could sometimes just die out of nowhere, which has been resolved, and they made the Wind Tamer relic way more powerful against the non-void boss from the Fox side quest in chapter 3. Now, I never used this relic against him before the update, but I did now fight him again through the new challenge feature, and yes, you totally notice that the boss is just kind of unable to do anything back if you keep attacking while the tamer is active, which is quite nice. They also nerfed the green-capped martialist boss a bit. First, this move where he would turn into this like big wheel-like weapon, it would last like 25 seconds, but now after the update, it's more like 15 seconds, so you can damage him again way faster. They also noted that they improved the combat experience with some other bosses. I will leave a link to the patch notes in the video description for if you are curious. Now let's look at the biggest new additions. Of course, if you liked the video so far, leave a like and subscribe for way more Wukong content like this. Yes, I mentioned the new challenge modes, and those are unlocked after completing the game at least once. Then in New Game Plus, go to a shrine and you can select select challenge, and then the first option is Return of Rivals. This lets you refight all the bosses you've battled at least once, and they can select 3 new difficulty modes. The first one is basically the difficulty of the first time you encountered them, so really easy at this point in the game. The second difficulty gives you a more fair fight, while the third difficulty is pretty tough, with the enemies hitting really hard, even the ones from chapter 1. And cool is that some bosses also have brand new moves to surprise you. I don't want to spoil them, but yeah, you will certainly notice some new tricks that you have to learn now when fighting them again through this new feature. There's also a stat screen at the end showing you how well you did, but there are no rewards linked to this. If you want to earn the new items, you have to go to the Gauntlet of Legends. Here you find 9 challenges that have you fight multiple bosses directly after one another. And you only get 2 sips from your gourd back when you enter the next fight. So your mana, cooldowns, etc. they stay the same from one boss to the next. Meaning that you really have to approach these encounters differently, and that learning the mechanics from each opponent is way more important. Like in the main game, you could of course use all the different spells, your transformation, your relic, everything during one encounter to get the upper hand. Now you have to strategically save them for the right moment. So in this case, it means that you should not waste your mana on the first fights, because they are more manageable than the ones you have to fight later on, and also make sure your cooldowns are ready when you need them most. Being successful here though is worth it, as you can earn some pretty cool new items. The ever-burning palace lantern curio is amazing, for example, as with this equipped, your light attacks build up the burning effect when you are in or close to the ring of fire or in a lava environment. So then you have enemies catch fire and let them take damage over time, which is great. There are also new weapons. From the shadowy assembly, you get the Legion Centipede. That gives you health back on a focus point attack. But it gives you even more healing when the enemy is poisoned, so that requires the venomous arm guards, linked to how you get it in the video description, because then with crits you build up the poison effect, and the amount of health you get back is pretty big, but it's kinda hard to get the enemies poisoned, so the weapon is overall great, but not amazing. The Ching Mallet from the Collective Strength Challenge gives you focus for a brief moment after seeing through the enemy, and after completing all the challenges at least once, you unlock the final gauntlet. This one also rewards you with a new staff that has a special effect on a 4 focus point hit, depending on the stance you are in. But yeah, getting all the rewards is easier said than done, and the final challenge has a brand new boss that we could not fight as the Destined one before, which is kinda awesome. You can also insert curses, like disabling certain items, adding a timer, and way more. Like, don't use these if you just want the items, because the challenges are already hard as is. But it's a fun way to make the game even more difficult if you want that. Now, some quick tips: totally use the fully upgraded strength spell to get a second life, and also use this item to then also get gourd uses back when you come back to life, which is going to be very helpful. They made the Azure Dome transformation better, as you now always have the strength when you enter this transformation, even if it's on cooldown for the Destined one. Basically meaning that you got a second life that puts you back in the fight with all your focus points, so you can immediately do a 4-point heavy attack. It's also smart to, from the menu of the gauntlet, train against the boss you know you will be fighting, so you got that under control, learn to fight it without your special powers, so then when you reach it in the gauntlet, you know what to do, because of course dying at like one of the final bosses means you have to start from the first boss again, which will cost you a ton of time. If you got more tips, drop them in the comments. Subscribe, of course, for way more Black Myth Wukong content. A like on the video would really help me out, and check out that builds video with the venomous arm guard and way more by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.